The Ask Every Student Toolkit is a collection of campus-created and collaborative resources that can help you execute some of the most innovative student voter engagement strategies out there. This is the second iteration of a really incredible resource that is truly based on the collaboration of so many student and faculty and campus staff and administrative leaders across the country who are really dedicated towards sharing best practices, sharing what they're doing to make it so that the concept, this idea, this mission, this dream of asking every student to participate in our democracy can become a reality. So it's not just something that we say, it's something that we can really help anybody do through sharing those expertise and those resources. This toolkit specifically in this iteration is broken down into 6 sections. And we're going to talk through all of them today, and I'm going to get to highlight a lot of the different resources that you'll see there. The resources that are included in this toolkit range from being video presentations from campus leaders about the work that they do, to interactive templates that you can download and adjust to your own context, and sample resources to learn from what others have been doing as well. So there's a really great variety of guides, of things that you can plug and play, templates, videos, and I'm really excited to get to share them all with you today. So we'll go to the next slide to tell you a little bit more about Ask Every Student. If you aren't familiar with Ask Every Student already, the Ask Every Student initiative is really just built on a mission around this concept of literally asking every student on a campus to participate in our democracy, beginning with voter registration if they're eligible. We use this framework of integrating, executing, and institutionalizing voter registration and democratic engagement strategies into existing processes with partners to equitably reach every student on your campus, making sure that whatever you end up doing is really inclusive and individualized and personalized, so that your voter registration and nonpartisan democratic engagement tactics truly do that process of asking every student as individuals, as people who have their own needs and experiences, that you can really center through things like conversations and relational organizing. And the last part of it is institutionalizing those tactics to be a sustainable part of your campus culture so they keep going on no matter who's in charge or who's running the program. So today we're going to talk about different strategies and resources that you can actually use to adapt this specific framework to your own campus. Co-designer cohort this past year is representative of 20 diverse campuses across the country. We had 24 actual participants in the cohort. You can see on the map here, really amazing geographic distribution, campus types, and because of that, we're able to get a lot of different types of experiences represented. So as we know, there's no one size fits all strategy, but by being able to uplift all of these different types of approaches by all of these different kinds of partners, you can really be able to, you really get to be able to see all of the different ways you can make this mission work on your own campus. And I just can't be thankful enough to everyone who participated in this. Everybody had a hand in building this toolkit together. We also had an amazing 2020 co-designer cohort that really built the foundation of it, and a lot of the tools that we worked on together are still represented into this toolkit today. So this really has just been truly a collaboration of so many brilliant local leaders across the country, and just cannot express enough gratitude for them. The toolkit includes 11 co-designer presentation videos. So if you want to hear directly from these campus leaders themselves, you can hear directly from them all throughout the website. We have over 30 individual resources that campus partners created or co-created together. And they are all super user-friendly and adaptable, and very inspirational, and just continue to take a look. And there's 17 web pages organized by topic. So it may seem like a lot, but we were really able to use a human-centered design approach to building this. So it should be, as easy to navigate as possible. So if you're trying to find one specific thing, you'll be able to get there through the route that you're looking for it through. And I'm going to walk you through what that toolkit looks like today. And we're going to have another deeper dive into it on September 8th for a full training, so you can really learn how to apply it. But we're going to get an overview going in now. So let's go to the next slide so we can dive in. There's 4 strategic areas in this toolkit. So one of the things that we've noticed a lot with Ask Every Student is that our bread and butter truly is in that integration stage of what does it actually look like to integrate voter registration and democratic engagement opportunities. And we've identified 4 broad kind of strategic areas. So there's academic integration. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. that's engaging faculty, that's going into the classroom. It's even thinking about stuff like course registration. And then there's student life integration. So that's that orientation approach, that welcome week approach, working with student organizations, working with other kinds of programming. There's student leadership. That's all about recruiting and training those student leaders who really should be leading that effort in different ways that you can use things like federal work study or ambassador programs to recruit, and different really exciting training materials that you can use to train them and make sure they feel confident about being able to register their peers to vote and ask them to participate. The other section is institutional partnerships, which is about really being able to build coalitions and create really meaningful partnerships, working with strategic partners such as the registrar's office, and getting commitment from senior leadership on your campus as well. So we'll dive into all of these areas real quick. Yeah, perfect. So these are some of the spotlights of different resources on the academic integration page. So there's the faculty engagement resources, which are really about partnering with faculty and engaging faculty. So these resources are less about like, what are you actually doing with like the students, and a little bit more about like, how are you supporting faculty? How are you understanding what they need and how you can support them and how you can work with them to integrate this into their classrooms. So we have really cool stuff like a professional development workshop that Miami-Dade College developed, different kind of surveys and focus groups you can use with faculty that really supplement kind of creating your own faculty champions program, highlighting the Project Pericles resources as well. They've been doing amazing work for many years. And then we have classroom engagement. So that's stuff like integrating voter registration and these kinds of conversations into learning management system modules. You can also learn about how to do really effective class visits, especially focusing on thinking like, okay, what are these like big bottleneck classes? Which classes reach students that are underrepresented, and being able to actually go into those and having resources that you can use while you're there to really systematically ask every student in those classes. And then we also have some cool stuff about how to really be intentional about course registration integration. When's the best time to do it? Who do you have to partner with? And you can learn how the Maryland Institute College of Art did that this past year. So we'll go to the next slide to student life integration. So we have some really amazing case studies from Stony Brook University. Ashley Mercado put together this really great guide on how to make it like a mandatory part of your orientation process by really partnering with your orientation committee, and how to streamline it and how to organize it. It's really wonderful. And then we have some resources that you can use to do presentations or to do large scale paper form processes. So if you're trying to go into not classes, this is student life. If you're trying to go into, student organization meetings, or if you want to integrate it into like bus pass pickup, parking pass pickup, if you want to have, like a table at the line for getting into really large athletic events, these are all really great resources you can use for those kinds of programs. Next slide. Student leadership opportunities. So the other big core part of Ask Every Student is that kind of relational peer-to-peer piece of it. So we have some resources around recruiting student leaders. And one of the really amazing things, especially as we've heard from the Dear Colleague letter this past year, is using federal work study really strategically as a way to kind of have these built-in roles. And Northampton Community College has been really generous in creating a lot of resources about how they make sure that that's an equitable process. Sometimes the default pay for federal work study is not competitive, but you can supplement that with ambassador programs through nonprofits. You can also, think about how many hours you're actually offering students so that they are able to maybe have other jobs as well and making that pay higher. So they have a lot of good job postings, interview questions, flyers, and there's also a lot of legal information that you can use to advocate for increasing civic engagement work studies that focus on voter registration. Yes, Mike Dean, it's in the resource. So if you go to the federal work study page, it's there. Yes, they have their job description. So the voting ambassadorship program is kind of another way of approaching student leadership in this work. And it's a really brilliant model where you're thinking about like, okay, we can't have like 60 paid fellows on our campus doing this work, but we really want to be able to have lower lifts of having student leaders being able to participate in this to whatever degree they're able to. So maybe that's just making a class announcement in the classes they're already in and being able to train them to do that, and having awards and maybe having a dinner or something that they can all be invited to. And so there's a really great model you can learn from Dr. Megan Lloyd at Carnegie Mellon University that she put together around how to create, larger scale voter ambassador programs that can be paired with those work study students or with those ambassadors or, those fellows, whoever it is. And then there's a really exciting training resource that I will put a pin in because Jocelyn Roof is going to share way more about that soon. And I can't wait for you to hear about that. But we have lots of really great training resources as well. So once you have them in, making sure they have all of the training they need to do this work. Next slide. Institutional partnerships is the other section here. So we've been working a while on creating some really cool coalition building resources for y'all. So you have a really great case studies from 10 campus coalitions that the Resources and Support Subcommittee, Anna Guevara and Liana Keesing actually worked on last year. So those are in there. So you can see 10 different types of coalitions to be inspired by and some takeaways from them. We also have some case studies from Weber State University around how they are really intentional about including equity, diversity, and inclusion in their coalition. And a lot of interactive activities you can use to actually start thinking strategically about the partners you want to be bringing into your coalition, how you want to be prioritizing those asks, how you're going to be making those asks, how you even want to be starting a coalition to begin with. We have a whole getting started worksheet, as well as a partnership outreach tracker. So once you've decided these are the partners we want, we have a template spreadsheet you can use to start thinking through who is the contact that we need to be reaching out to, what is happening in those conversations, how do they want to be involved, and you can use that for succession planning as well. So this is a really, really great part of the toolkit that's very interactive and has been kind of a work in progress for a couple of years, actually. Big shout out to Dr. Leah Murray on that piece too. The all-in higher ed president's commitment to full student voter participation is highlighted, and we have some really amazing resources from Clark Atlanta University and Virginia Tech around how to build strategic partnerships with the registrar. And from Virginia Tech, we have this piece about how to actually make those asks. What's the checklist for doing that? Next slide. We have some amazing engagement resources uplifting as well, different ways to make sure that the work you're doing is holistic. So one of the highlights here is the Your Major on the Ballot page. Emma Godell from American University wrote up blurbs and top issues and linked news articles to over 35 different majors on campus. You can take a look at that. You can use those for messaging. You can share that page directly if people want to find their own major on the ballot. And we worked really hard on that one. And you can also see these other amazing resources as well from different campuses and our partner Vote for Astra. And then the last part of the toolkit, and I need to wrap up, I'm so sorry, going a little over, is our human-centered design section. So you can actually see the recording of the training and the materials for how to do human-centered design to learn better about the needs of your students and the faculty on your own campus. And we have a lot of templates for how to do, how to run these sessions. So agendas, how to create student engagement profiles to understand the different types of students on your campus, surveys, focus groups, and lots of ideation templates and agendas. So you can really center what the students on your own campus, the faculty on your own campus, what do they need? Because these resources are all amazing. And it's really good to start with understanding what are the things that students on your campus would be excited about, what works best for them. So really recommend going into this and seeing if you can learn from your own students as you build your strategy.